Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Free Flowing Thoughts. Today is going to be a very prominent and relevant and current topic. Today, we're going to be discussing prostate cancer, and we have a gentleman who's going to be joining me and us today on the live, and he's going to be sharing his journey on prostate cancer. He has done a 10-part bullet point on also other social media platforms with this subject, and it's going to be really informative. Let me first cover why I really wanted to have this conversation. Often guest speakers choose their own topics, but there are times where I actually have topics that's on my mind, and I go seeking people that can transmute that and share their stories with us. There are a wealth of men, strictly men of colour, who are still reluctant to go and be tested. And I guess people are still feeling like health and race has a discrimination. It doesn't. Age, race, and gender, it has no discrimination. And therefore, things like prostate is very important for men of diverse ages to go and get medically checked. There are not always signs, but when they are, it's very important for you to be checked. And so today, one is going to cover, removing the stigma and so much more. So let me go and see where Ron is. Let's bring him in. Ron, I've just sent you a request to bring you in on the live, but if you can't see that, can you see a white banner that says request? There you go. Let me bring you in. And good evening to the individual that's just joined the live all the way in Nigeria. Hello, sir.
Am I in?
You're in.
Oh, wow. Folks, please excuse me. This is the first time I've done this, so I'm a virgin.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna crack that cherry for you, okay?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Let me take a look at you, because sometimes we just need to slightly readjust. When you
Yeah,
come on the
yeah.
live, you never quite know where we are because of
Yeah, that's
the
right.
separation in the middle.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you comfortable, Ron?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, let me just adjust myself as well. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Once again, this is a Wednesday live, always live. You can watch the playback on multiple streams and platforms once we download this live. But again, I say today is a very prominent topic, and it's what I've been wanting to have. And thankfully, Ron has kindly graced me with his presence and us with his presence. So he's going to be sharing a lot of informative and personal and medical information on prostate, and most definitely removing the stigma and so much more. Yeah, Ron, is that okay?
Definitely, definitely. I'm
Yeah.
here to help.
Oh, you're wonderful. You're very informative, wonderful. I've seen some, quite a bit of your stuff. So here we go. Well, let's first start off with the warm-up zone.
Okay.
And that's just purely for me to energy connect with you. And that is always my sole purpose for why I do these lives, is that energy connect and have a really good transition between me and my guests. So let's start
Okay.
with, how did you spend your day today before coming on the live?
Okay, well, same old, same old. I work as a delivery driver, so
Mhm.
I was just delivering around North London, and then I managed to squeeze a gym session after work, and
Nice.
and that's really it, really.
Okay, well, as your delivery man, where's my goods? I've got some orders. You may not know which company, but I'm blaming you for all of them, okay?
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. All right. We need you. We need you, delivery man. We need you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. All right. So let's get into the warm-up zone. Thank you for the guest that's just joined. You can check out the promos for what this topic's about, but I'll keep reiterating through the live. Yeah. Today
Okay,
on
no worries.
prostate. All right. All right. So let's get into the warm-up zone before we get into the layers of the actual subject of the evening. Who is Ron? Let me know.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I try and be as humble as I can because I've been
No,
told I have a
no. I want
bit
you
of an
to just
ego.
be. I want you to just be. That's just be. So I want to know who is Ron from a soul perspective. From a soul perspective.
Okay, well, I am, okay, I'm 59 years old. I'm
Mm-hmm.
outgoing, quite bubbly. My
Mm-hmm.
hobbies, I'm a bit unusual
What
um,
makes you unusual?
because I'm very heavily into, even at this age, even at this grand old age, I'm very into dancing. I'm a freestyle dancer. I've worked
Mm-hmm.
professionally as well. So freestyle means a bit of breaking, a bit of popping, a bit of light
Mm-hmm.
acrobats. I also dance on roller skates. I do power tricks on poles. So
Mm-hmm.
that sense, I'm a bit wacky, you know. And obviously because it takes a lot of upper body strength, you know, I have to work out in the gym. So it's not only for vanity reasons. Hint, hint, not only.
I've seen you do a move or two. The fact you can still be balancing on one hand, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, he still got it. He still got it, you know? So that's good. All right. What was you like as a child?
Well, as a child, I've always been outgoing. However,
Mm-hmm.
going into my teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
I did battle on the sneak tip with low self-esteem and a lack of confidence, even though it didn't show on the outside. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, even to this day, in the right environment, the scars of Christmas past comes out.
Oh.
That insecure, spotty teenager sometimes comes out now and again. But you have to know me well to know when
Mm-hmm.
that insecurity comes out. But you know, despite my physical physique and more than above average man's confidence, that insecurity is still there at the back of it's still there at the back, you know. So that's a lot of people are surprised when they hear that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's
I can
something I
relate.
went through. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
hence why I got into fitness, because well, actually because of my insecurities and lack of confidence, back in the late 70s, the nightlife scene was completely different to how it is now, especially on the soul scene, soul and
Mm-hmm.
funk scene. And dancing was a huge part of that youth subculture. And then, so once I discovered I was actually good at something without being too big headed, once I found that I was now part of the A class, I was part of the it crowd because I had some funky moves that the average person didn't have.
So let
That
me ask you a question on that. When you
God,
say trying to be humble and not trying to be big-headed, you believe you're a good dancer. Has anyone else told you that you're a good dancer?
I've been hired.
Okay, so
I've
so people's only confirmed what you think of yourself. Not that you need validation, yeah?
uh,
So
no,
you know, if
because
you feel confident in what you do,
before
that's the main thing.
before I got hired, people was
Yeah.
approaching me and saying, "Well, why don't you do this professionally? Why don't you
Mm-hmm.
dance in a cage? You're better than those cage dancers. Why didn't you do this? Why
Complicated.
don't you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you do this?" I kept on getting names. Why don't you? Are you a professional dancer? I said, "No, I just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy dancing." You should think about getting into this. And then once I got into it, the work followed me. I kept to
Mm-hmm.
get recommendations and repeat bookings. So
And
I've got
I'm
to be
sure
good for something.
it keeps you young, I'm sure, right at heart as well. You know,
Yeah,
physical. Being physical
yeah,
keeps us young at heart. Yeah?
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thank you for sharing
So
some of that transparency. Sorry, can I go on to my next fire question?
no, go on.
Sorry, it's the warm-up zone. Yeah. Thank you for that. All right. What is your origin? Where are you from? Let us know.
Well, I was born in the UK. My parents are from Grenada, Isle of Spice.
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents are from Grenada. If you want to go further back, I think obviously somewhere. If you want to go far back, a
Mm-hmm.
slave descendant from somewhere in the west coast of Africa, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you beyond the west coast of Africa. I couldn't tell you that. And my mom and my great grandmother. Actually, no. My grandmother on my mother's side, she's
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese or something like that. I think
Oh,
she's half
okay.
Portuguese or something like that. So there's
Oh.
obviously, without being too political, um, being a slave descendant, obviously you would have different mixtures in your
Yeah.
family tree because
Mm-hmm.
of the Atlantic slave trade. Like you'd be hard pushed to find a Afro-Caribbean, Afro-American who's just got pure African blood in their blood all the way through. It'd
Yeah.
be,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
someone's, there's going to be a mixture somewhere,
Okay,
so.
brilliant. All right. And who are you when no one is watching?
Oh, 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 who am I when no one's watching? Ah, I'm a 10-year-old kid.
What does that look like?
Oh
What
wow.
does that tell them?
I daydream. Daydream. I wonder how things work, why things are.
Mm.
I'm very into the cosmos. I have a telescope and stuff. I follow
Oh,
the
I want to get
planets
one
and
of
stuff.
those. I actually want to get one. I've been wanting to. That and a gramophone.
Well, actually, right now, if it's cloudy, so it wouldn't work. But
Mm-hmm.
next time we have a clear night,
Mm-hmm.
just after sunset, there'll be three bright spots in the sky. Nearer to the horizon, that's Venus. Then
Mm-hmm.
slightly to the middle, that's Jupiter. And then slightly to the
Okay.
dark side, that's Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that. Ron, what is your favorite? What would you say? Let me start there actually. Um, how can I say this? What is your favorite? What do you love most about yourself? I should ask that. What do you love or like most about yourself?
Um, well,
Mm.
I would say my bounce, my energy in terms of my energy that draws people into me when I'm having a good time. So I could go anywhere and I could be on my own, but I think my best quality is that people like to be around me because they see that this guy's enjoying himself. He's happy. He's not threatening and he doesn't take himself seriously. He's just enjoying himself and people come, they want
Mhm.
to be part of that. I think that's my best quality that I could make. Oh,
That's a lovely quality to have. That's a very
yeah,
lovely quality to have.
yeah. I've also
Hmm.
been told that I make people feel comfortable around me. I make people
Hmm.
feel comfortable. I think those two things. I mean, I don't know that I'm doing it, but I've been told I already feel free around you. I feel comfortable. You make me feel comfortable. And so I
That's so
think,
nice.
yeah. So when I'm partying and people, strangers come on the dance with me and so forth, and sometimes I become like a unpaid dance instructor. Like they say, how do you do this particular move? And I show them, and then what I love is the joy in their face when they realize they've picked up a move that I've shown them. Because I've got a pipe trick that I say I could teach anybody a dance move in 5 minutes. Because
Okay,
I don't tell them,
I have another question for you.
okay,
You did ask me to keep the reins on you tonight, didn't
yeah,
you?
yeah,
So I'm going
yeah,
to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm going to do that. To bring
Do
you on
that, do
back.
that.
Bring you
I
on back.
please do that.
Yeah. All right. So your next warm-up question before we get into the actual topic of the night
Okay.
is if you could implement one change in this world, any change in this world, what would it be? It's a big question, isn't it? I thought
Yeah.
I'd ask it for the first time.
I was approached by a Jehovah Witness, and
Hmm.
they was quite shocked when I said, "Well, if we emphasize more on giving to each other rather than
Hmm.
taking and receiving, the
Hmm.
ball of generosity will go round. So if I give to you, eventually it will come back round. So if we emphasize more on to give, then everyone will have." That
Mm.
it's a simple principle. If governments and countries more focus on what can we do for them over there,
Hmm.
and and if everyone had the same idea, everybody will have. It's kind of
So
simple.
basically giving within the criteria of what each individual needed or
Oh
section of people needed.
yeah, just what one we like in terms of like if I see you've got a need and I can help. Oh,
Hmm.
and then I do that, and then I may have a need what someone else think. Oh, Ron could do with that. And if the focus was, well, what can I do for you? What can I
Hmm.
do for her?
Hmm.
What can I do for you? And then
Hmm.
eventually it will come back round, and then
It
everyone will
will come
have
back round.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
wonderful, wonderful gift that you would give the world, and just put it out into the universe. Hopefully, somebody, may not be, ain't going to be everybody, will give, and especially back to you. Well, thank you for the warm-up zone. Let's get into your
Okay.
conversation of the evening. Yeah,
Okay. Sorry.
welcome, guys. For those who's just joined the live, we're going to create space at a slightly later date for maybe your questions or interactions on the topic of prostate cancer. It's so important, and it's been one I've been wanting to have for a while. Again, I say there are a lot of males, especially of color, who are
Oh yeah.
embarrassed and uncomfortable to have these tests, even when they've had clear symptoms. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, okay? And this conversation was brought back up to me by someone really close lately, and I thought I'm going to do the subject because they were uncomfortable. And I know other people in the past has felt like their sexuality has felt like it's been compromised by having this actual examination alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's had a trip on their mind. And I think it's so important that someone like you, which is what you do, Ron, come and eradicate this, and number one, removing the stigma. So let's start with the beginning. All right, let's start with the very beginning. Did you have any symptoms?
Well, the only symptoms I had was my flow of my pee was slower. But
Mm-hmm.
what inspired me to go was really the adverts, especially aimed at black men. And it was on my
Mm-hmm.
bucket list for years. But, oh, sorry, I've missed the most important bit. You forgive me. Of
Okay.
course, the biggest inspiration was, of course, sadly, my father passed away
Okay.
in 2005. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, it was on my bucket list to get myself checked out, and along
Mm-hmm.
with the adverts. But the only symptom I had was just my pee was just slower. And just
Mm-hmm.
one day I had time off work. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna sort this. I've been putting it off for years and years and years. I'm gonna go to the doctor and and put it to him, like, I want to have a test done because my dad died of it. And once he heard my dad died of it, and he was up.
He was up.
He was
Allow me
up
to
right.
ask you a little bit more about that, because I actually have heard of people having a slow stream whilst
Mm,
passing urine. They've got
mm,
tests and they've been fine. However, they were put on medications to actually help the flow, but it wasn't prostate, thank God, or cancer,
yeah.
should I say. So with yourself, did you feel like you had to force your urine whilst passing it? Was it like that feeling?
Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
thinking, is this thing gonna come out or what? Because I could feel it, and I'm
Right.
thinking, man, today, please, today,
Mhm. Mhm.
come on,
Mhm.
what today? Yeah,
And
so
how long did this go on for before you decided to actually go and get checked?
I would say for a good 3 years or so, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Is there any reason you didn't check it out before to think, well, this is, suddenly your flow had suddenly stopped. What made you
Oh,
wait for three
it
years?
didn't actually stop. It was just slow, and it was getting a bit slower. And
Okay.
it was, believe it or not, it wasn't the pee. It wasn't the flow of my pee that actually got me to go. Is, like I said, it was on my bucket list to get myself checked out for years, and
Hmm.
it just
Hmm.
the opportunity of that time off, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to actually. It's, imagine, when the alarm clock goes off and you've got a bit of
Hmm.
time, you think, I'm going to get up.
Hmm.
I'm going to get up. Oh,
Snooze,
5 minutes.
snooze,
I'm going to
snooze,
get up,
snooze button. Yeah. Hmm.
and then eventually you think, okay, I better get up. It was.
Mm.
It's kind of similar thing to that. I'm going to get myself checked out. I'm going to get myself checked out. I'm going to get myself checked out.
So
Oh, damn
three
it.
years
Just get
went
yourself checked.
by and you were having these symptoms. You finally went to the doctor.
Yeah.
Just take us to that point. So you went to the doctor, you had your test. How long? No, before I even get on to how long,
Yeah.
did you have yourself, or was you one of those brothers, especially who was apprehensive or embarrassed or had any of these, oh my God, I don't want to be examined up there, my back region. Did you have any of these thoughts that many men seem to experience?
Believe it or not, no.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you why. I think because this gonna sound unrelated but kind of related at the same time. Because I worked as a podium dancer. For those who don't know, some people get confused between a pole and a podium. A podium
Yeah.
is a person dancing in a cage next to a DJ. That's a podium
Okay.
dancer, not a
Mm-hmm.
pole dancer. So because when you're a podium dancer, sometimes you dance half naked, you dance with S&M outfits, you dance really, you dress with really wacky gear.
Right.
I was used to my body being exposed to thousands of people per time.
But it's a
So
little bit different having a doctor's finger, right? Very
I
different,
know,
right?
but the concept of taking my clothes off in
Right.
front, it didn't sort of phase me as such. And in terms of
Mhm.
the finger side, um,
But that seems to be multiple, and I mean
yeah,
multiple men's. It's not getting undressed. It's the fact
yeah,
of
I know,
there seems to be an array of men that connect the, that with, a gay act. Therefore,
yeah,
even in
exactly,
medical
exactly.
terms, they're so
Now,
uncomfortable, you
yeah,
know?
so the cross between what I did for a living and plus when I was a kid, I had problems with my stomach, and I had to have the rectum examination as such.
Examination. Mhm.
So I wasn't. It wasn't something new to me because I was a kid when I
Okay.
was ill with my stomach. So I knew what it was going to. And without people, please forgive me when I say this. It just felt like a hard turd going up you and coming out quickly. Sorry if I'm a
No,
bit.
no, please.
Yeah,
I'm liberal. Use any term you want.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I knew what I was going to be in for already. You see what I'm saying? Because I had a stomach problem as a kid. So
Okay.
um, and then so with my logic, I was thinking to myself, well, um, it's only a second of discomfort, and that
Mhm.
1 2 seconds could be the difference of me ended up like my dad, or
Yeah.
me living to me living here to tell you the tale of
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
2 seconds, you know.
So that
So
that wasn't a part of your concern, which is great for you as well. So you're at the doctor's, you had your examination. Is there anything that you could share with the viewers that in the midst
yes,
of that exactly? This is I'm going to
yes,
be very. By the way,
yeah,
guys, I'm going to be stating the obvious, and the reason why I'm going to be stating a lot of the obvious in this talk is for those who actually will not go. Therefore, the whole breaks that you're actually preparing them for this examination. So
yeah.
if you can take us back to the entry of the doctors or the hospital, and what is the process?
Okay, this is very important. So, guys, if
It
you're
is.
watching, listen up.
Mm-hmm.
The first procedure first is the blood test. Blood test.
Mm-hmm.
Before they even go anywhere near the finger, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you get your blood test first, and then so you go to the doctor. You tell them you want to
Mm-hmm.
get yourself checked. The
Yeah.
first thing they'll ask you: do you have it in your family? Did your father? Is it in your? Like once I told them that my dad passed away with it. Of course, because it's something that's inherited via your DNA. It's not down to your lifestyle. You could smoke as much spliff as you like or whatever. It's not down to your
Okay.
lifestyle. It's inherited.
So
So
is that the only way?
now,
Hereditary?
well,
I didn't think it was, is it?
I don't know of any other way you can. I don't see prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
I don't know you can do anything to get prostate cancer. Not to my knowledge. If I'm wrong,
Yeah.
I reserve the right to be proven wrong.
Yeah,
But
please. I would say, guys, on that note, even if you don't know anyone in your family that has had it, please still make that a part of your instant bucket list and go and get checked.
checked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
so then once you've told the doctor, he'll arrange a blood test. You go and get your blood test, and then what happens after that, depending on your PSA levels, if your PSA levels are over 6, if it's under 6, you're fine. Go out, live your life, have a good life, and there you go. If it's over 6, mine was 9.
Oh.
That's when he said, "Oh, it's a bit on the high side. I'm
Mm.
going to book you in for an actual examination." And that's when. So the procedure first is blood test, and depending on your results, then you have the examination. But as I
How
said
long?
before,
Okay,
God,
so as we move on to the actual blood test part, as I'm going to try and get as much as I can out of this live before the end, so
okay,
I'm going to be
okay,
somehow a little bit speeding you a little bit.
okay.
So in terms of the blood test, how long does it take generally for the results to return?
Um, from what I remember, it was no more than 2 weeks. It was
Okay.
quite quick. It was quite quick. It may
Hmm.
have been 3 weeks, but it wasn't a long time. I'm sure it was within, for me, I think it was about 2 weeks by the time it got to the doctor and everything. And I
Hmm.
was called in, and that's when because if the PSA is high, then the doctor will contact you. You know, if
Hmm.
everything's okay, you won't hear from the doctor. But if there's a problem, then you will hear from the doctor, and the doctor will say, yeah, you need to get yourself examined. Yeah.
Okay, take us back to that phone call.
Um,
Yeah, you had your results now, and then the phone call comes in, and he
well, the
confirms
phone
that.
call, they said, oh, you need to come and see the doctor about your blood results.
Mhm.
So they don't actually tell you anything over the phone.
No,
They
they
say, oh,
won't. Yeah.
they say you need to come to the doctor about your blood
Hmm.
results. So I thought, okay. So then I went in and sat down. He said, yeah, your PSA levels was 9, and the standard is 6. And anything above 6, that's where we get concerned. Below 6, you're fine. And so he said,
Hmm.
so I'm going to book you in for an examination. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And so the blood, sorry, go back a little bit. So the blood results came back positive, clearly. Then
oh
that,
no, it was my PS. I don't know what PSA stands for, but
okay,
your
that was
PSA
fine.
levels, it was above 6. In my case, it was 9. And
That's what I
so
thought. Yeah.
yeah, and so he was concerned it was at 9. So he said, you need to have an examination. As I've said again, if it's below 6, if it's 6 and below, you're
Hmm.
fine. 6 and above, I mean above 6, then there's cause
Hmm.
for concern.
Okay. And for those men who naturally may or may not have, because I speak to the youngers about this, and after this, I'll
Yeah,
be sending this to my baby brother, nephews, a lot, for those youngers that barely even actually know what that even term means, prostate and cancer.
yeah.
Can you, now you've covered the intro, can you, in regards to the examination, we know for those who know, for those who don't, really don't know, can you give us, a miniature breakdown of what that felt like in terms of what it's no, not even felt like, because you've already told us that for you it wasn't intrusive because you've had that before when you were a
Mhm.
younger child, but what the actual examination entails. That's what I should be asking.
Okay, well, first thing, okay, so you go into bed on the
Hmm.
surgery bed, and you lay down in what's that? Is it the fetal position? They call it the
Position,
fetal
yes, yeah.
position. Yeah. So
Hmm.
you're in the fetal position, and obviously the doctor puts the gloves on that. I think he put some kind of gel on or something, and then literally it's over in a blink of an eye. You just you feel the finger, and like I said again, it just feels like a hard turd. Instead of going out, it's coming up, and it goes
Hmm.
out, and and then he said, yeah, he said to me, your prostate is enlarged. It took him
Okay.
literally a second to feel it. He goes, yeah, and he pulled it out. Your prostate is enlarged, and
Hmm.
that was it. It was at like 2 seconds, and
2 seconds. Are
yeah,
you hearing
like
that,
that.
guys? It's really brief and
Yeah.
really efficient. I know it's
Mm,
uncomfortable for many with the
mm.
idea of, and avoiding it, but it is very, very quick, right, Ron?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
can
mean,
save your
that's
life.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Think about like this. At the very worst, if you get someone who's sloppy, 3 seconds of discomfort. I'm going to push it to 1 more second. 3 seconds of
Hmm.
discomfort, but you get to live, or
Hmm.
you don't go, and you join my father in the grave in Greenford.
Yeah. Okay. So once he done your examination, what happened next? What was the very next thing that happened?
Okay, so he said like your prostate's enlarged, and so the next thing I had to go for an MRI scan. That's the next
Mhm.
thing. That was easier. Oh, you just lay there. I even like dozed off, and then excuse me, hold on.
You're not claustrophobic then, are you?
No, it's quite big. It's quite
No,
big. So you know,
listen, basically, let me tell you a quick joke. When I
okay,
first had one, I've had multiple accidents, injuries, and due to that, I
okay.
have trapped nerves. So I'm sat here most of the time in chronic pain, and people wouldn't know. But anyway, so I've had these scans. And when I first went for one, they said, press this buzzer if you feel any discomfort. As soon as I went in, I pressed the buzzer because I don't like They looked at me like, wow, Auntie Chi, I've just put you in there. Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. I was like, I don't like it in here. Carry on. But
So
anyway, carry
see
on.
now the MRI scan, that's the easy bit. Now I need to
Mhm,
tell you about the next procedure, which is the
mhm.
biopsy. The biopsy.
Okay,
So
tell
after,
him,
so
tell
you
him,
get the
Ron.
MRI scan, and then I think with that, it's kind of like an X-ray, MRI scan, and they get to
Mhm,
see what's going on in your prostate. And by
mhm.
then, I think they saw that I had little dots, so they want to examine the dots. But the next thing is biopsy, where they take a sample of your prostate. Now,
Ooh,
what happens
what's the
is,
process? Tell us the
so
process.
that's about they think that's about 3 weeks or so later. So again, you
Mhm,
go on a bed. They numb your buttocks because because
mhm,
unfortunately they have to they have to shove this the I don't know, the thing that takes your the sample
mhm, mhm,
in your rectum, and so you're all numbed up like as though you're going to the dentist as such.
mhm.
So and then they it goes click. It's like it's kind of like a like if it reminds you of something that's making sparks
Ooh, mhm.
like you're gonna light your stove.
Okay. So, but you
It's,
felt nothing because you were numb, yeah?
yeah. But
Mhm,
you
mhm,
feel a little tick,
mhm,
like
mhm.
you're lighting a fire in a stove. It kind of reminds me of that tick tick tick. So you hear tick and then tick tick, and so they've taken a sample. Right now, this is something I need to warn you guys about if you end up having this. So you have the biopsy. That's fine. You go home, you feel a bit uh, numb as such, or whatever. Okay, but
Mhm. Are you
um,
gone?
but
Mhm.
for the next 3 weeks,
Three
if you have
weeks.
sex, right,
Oh.
you will ejaculate blood, and they
Oh.
don't tell you about that. You will, you
Okay.
100%. If no one tells you, and you be like, wow.
So did they give you the pre-warning that this would
No,
happen?
no, because
Ooh.
what do you call it? I had to look online, and then it said, oh yeah, it's a normal procedure that what do you call it? You ejaculate blood. And I thought,
They didn't tell you this. Oh my
thanks for telling
God.
me.
Is there a period of time where you're not supposed to have sex after this biopsy, or can you instantly go home and, you know,
Not
interact with that?
not with a biopsy. No,
Okay.
not with a
So
biopsy.
you're totally fine. Okay.
You may not, you yourself may not feel like it. To be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you, yeah. I mean, you after a few days, you feel a bit funny for a few days. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think don't think you're going to be in a
You'd
hurry.
want
You don't.
to.
If you're
Yeah.
living with someone,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going. Yeah, if you're living with someone, you have to tell her, look, you have to wait a little while because I need to come back to earth. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. Nice. All right. And so what happens next? You have the biopsy, you go
So
home, you
now,
are.
after I have the biopsy, now then that's time for the verdict. So another
Mhm.
few weeks go, and it's the verdict time to know where you are in your journey. So they call you back, and there's let me just make sure I'm clear on this.
Mhm.
There'll be one of four things that will happen. Part one, you've got the cancer, but it'll be benign, and because it's benign, you'll probably die of old age before the cancer will kill you. So if it's really benign and really small in terms of quantity, they'll say, well, you know, live long and prosper, as they said in Star Trek, live long and prosper and have a good life, right? So that's if you're benign, right? Then part two, if you're more than benign but not too advanced, then you're eligible for the laser treatment.
Okay.
We'll talk about the laser bit in a bit. So you have laser. Then if you're a bit beyond that but still not advanced, then you will have they'll to recommend you have the radical prostatectomy, where they take your prostate out.
Wow.
And then number 4, that's where it's a bit dodgy. If you've waited a bit too long and you've left it too long and you're advanced, that's when you're going to have to go down the road of chemotherapy and stuff. But lucky for me, I wasn't that far. So it's one of 4. It's one of 4 things. Hopefully it'll be number 1, benign. But for me, it was 3 for me, the radical prostatectomy. So I wasn't advanced, I wasn't benign, but on the safe force precaution wise, they recommended that I have the radical prostatectomy, because even though I said, oh, I want to have the laser, they said, yes, you can have the laser, but if it comes back, you're going to have the radical prostatectomy.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us, before you proceed, if you don't mind, share with us potentially what you experienced before you kind of even, in the midst of all this, because obviously you shared that your dad had passed away through this. Did it affect your well-being, your mental health, your spirit? Can you share elements of what went through you and what you experienced with the journey of that, the beginning of all of this before?
Actually, a lot of my friends was quite surprised that I still had my bounce. I think because I was more in a protest that, well, I want the laser. But I was at ease with something has to be done. I was at ease that I've got the cancer. I was more concerned about the inconvenience around, rather than because if they said, oh, Mr. Sampson, we got unfortunate news for you, you're too advanced for us to do anything and you've got 6 months, then that would be a different story. But because there was no last days sort of,
you wasn't scared, you didn't have all that intensity of that's really good.
I was more thinking of what because at the time I was self-employed, I had my own van, and I was more thinking of the inconvenience. Oh, I've got to take time off work, I'm not going to get paid, and I was thinking of all the inconvenience. I was kind of in a way selfish, but in a
selfish with yourself and your own situation.
I wasn't so much thinking about my health. I was thinking,
well, you're thinking of more survival, the practicalities of everyday life. Everyone can afford to be laid up, for a long period of time. So that is actually, it's survival thinking of just, I see that's quite normal, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think this is a pain in the ass. I was thinking, excuse the pun. It's a pain in the butt. I've got to take time off work and all the things associated. I wasn't really panicking in myself, and I think that's why a lot of people were surprised. They said, Rod, considering what you're going through, you're still quite chirpy. And I said, well,
was that the genuine you, or was that the facade you? Because we've all got different sides and how we cope with things. It's like people who's going through trauma. Sometimes they can laugh and then cry, and laugh and then cry. So sometimes, it is sometimes was that actually the core of you? Was that your survival mechanism? Also.
Possibly. It possibly was. I mean, to be honest with you, like when I messaged my daughter in America, she rang me straight away from America, and I told her, look, don't worry, when they take it out, it can't. And she said, but Dad, I'm scared, because my daughter, she's a real daddy's girl, she's a big time daddy's girl. And then my
is she a grown woman? I'm taking it, grown woman age.
Grown
Oh,
woman age?
she's now she's 38.
Oh, so she grown, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 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 yeah.
We can relate
And
to that fear. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest son, he said, "Oh, have you told mum?" Because he was then panicking. And uh, but my youngest son, his mum refused to tell him because he got anxieties as such.
Mm-hmm.
So she just kept it quiet, like, you know.
How did you feel about that? Did you feel like that was the best thing at the time that she didn't tell
Yeah, I
him?
could. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I know him, and when I say his sister, which is not she's not my daughter, but
Mm-hmm.
we've got such a relationship. She calls me
Mm-hmm.
dad, you know,
Of course.
and
Mm-hmm.
so I totally understood that when she said she's not gonna tell the kids as such, you know, but yeah. So
Allow
that
me to ask.
pardon.
Sorry, go on, finish your sentence.
That's it. I finished.
That's it, yeah? All right, thank you. Allow me to ask, in the midst of that, if you don't mind sharing, were you in a relationship? Because that's for some people, that makes the difference. For some people, it doesn't. The good thing is, which you've clearly stated, that you
No,
did share it with your family and friends. But how about in regards to
no, no.
relationships?
No. I wasn't with anyone. No, no, no.
Because I
So
saw one of your
I
videos
suppose.
and you spoke
Actually,
about.
now you mention it. Now
Yeah, because I
you
watched your
mention that.
video and you spoke about having a selfish partner when you're going through these things. I thought, oh, that will be something that. And the reason why I'm so fine-tuned on particular questions, and when I'm conscious of time, guys, I do tend to be a little bit like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da," so forgive me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get as
yeah.
much as we can. We
That's
might have
fine.
to go slightly over the hour anyway. So in terms of that, now, when I ask that, I'm not asking you to create a blueprint for anyone else in
Oh
terms
no,
of
no, no,
what that
no,
should
no.
be like, but just I think there's so many people that still don't know how to think and feel about the situation. It would just be nice to hear from your perspective or even observation of others of what it was like and maybe how they coped through having a not so understanding or empathetic partner in those times, or maybe the reverse. So if you can share a bit of light, that would be great
Well, see,
from that part of
fortunately,
it.
because I wasn't with anybody, and now thinking about it, I suppose that
Mhm.
took a lot of heat off me because I had no one to break any news to, if that makes
But
sense.
wait. What happened to the part pissing blood after sex? How you know that then?
Oh, right.
Ron, spill that tea. Come on now. This is me talking to them. I remember everything.
Okay, no, no, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
So you
okay.
never had a
Okay,
partner. We had a lover. Okay. Clearly.
okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
You're grown. You can have
I didn't
that.
have a girlfriend, but I did. I did meet someone very shortly who we had a
Mhm.
bit of fun. You know, what I'm
Yeah. Well,
saying.
that's fine because this. All right. So did that in any way affect your confidence or abilities or how they saw it or how they was with you, just so the men in this world somehow can connect to something that you have already said?
Are we talking about the blood section, or we talk about post operation?
We can talk about both. Let's go to post then. Let's start there.
Okay, right. Again, so let me just burp. So with a post, lucky for me again, um, I wasn't seeing anybody as
Mm-hmm.
such, and
That's
and even if I
mm-hmm.
and even if I was, it wouldn't have made any difference because once you had the radical prostatectomy, right? Once they
Mm-hmm.
take your prostate out, your nerve endings and your nerves and your muscles in your penis is weak. You can't you literally for first 6 months you can't have sex anyway. You just can't.
Is that so? That's not via medical advice. It's just impossible to have. Are you saying?
Yeah, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
you won't feel anything because your nerves are all shattered because once they take the prostate out, it takes time for your nerves and that to heal and get your senses back and your muscles have to. So you're still for they say on average that with a radical prostatectomy it takes approximately 18 months for your erection to come back without the aid of pills and.
I was just going to go there. For those people that seems to be so in love with taking the blue pill and anything else, or the chocolates mixed with the blue pill inserted in it, whichever way they want to take it, is it advised for them to rush the process of having sexual intimacy whilst actually not feeling anything, but taking the pill so they can be erect?
Well, okay, we'll come to direct in a bit, but let's now I'm going to slow you down now.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
right. So after operation, you're basically 2 weeks, and I would recommend 3 months at a bare minimum. But to be on the safe side, I would say 6 months. 6 months, then
Are you listening, guys? I need you to
6
know this.
months.
Yeah.
You're ready. From 6 months, you would be ready to start thinking of having sex. But up until 6 months, I would say just forget it. Especially pre 3 months, you're not going to feel anything. I don't care how good your girl is on the mic. You ain't going to feel anything, right? Right.
I love that. I'm going to steal that bar. I'm going to steal that. I love that you said that on the mic. Oh my gosh. Interpretation, guys. Did you know that? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And then after 6 months, the urologist would be comfortable with giving you tablets. Oh, 1 second. Just give me a second. Hold on.
Show us everything.
It's not Viagra. It'll be Cialis. Cialis. That's what they're going to give you. Cialis, which is if you got a prostate, Cialis is a stronger version than Viagra. But once your prostate comes out, it will help your healing, but it won't be nowhere near as good as Viagra for a while, because it takes some time, depending on what your erection was like before the operation, depending on what your fitness was like before the operation. It all determines how long it would take. So that's that bit. Now, in terms of once you're prescribed Cialis, another thing as well, you must make sure that you fill in the form that you get free prescription, because you're not supposed to be paying for it. I made that mistake. I didn't. No one told me. The doctors didn't tell me this. They didn't. My GP didn't tell me. Oh, you do know you're entitled to free Cialis. It's only when I was talking to my urologist, I said, yeah, another £8. He goes, hey, what? You paying for it? I said, yeah. He goes, you're not supposed to be paying for it. You're not supposed to be paying for it. You're supposed to be free. You got to tell him. So
regardless of the income on that someone's making, you are entitled to receive that for free.
Free, 100%. Okay. What you do, you apply. You apply for one of these. You apply for one of these. It's an exemption card to say that you don't pay for your prescription for Cialis, because they need proof that you don't pay for it. And once you apply for your GP, then they'll send the card in the post, and then you could go to your pharmacy. Yeah. Say, do you pay for your subscription? No, I don't. And then there you go. Otherwise, if you say you do pay for it and you don't, you could get £100 fine. Okay, so that's that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then so the Cialis itself be okay, but
any side effects that we need to know about potentially? Although I know everyone's individual, but did you experience any side effects?
No. It's the good thing with Cialis. The difference with Cialis and Viagra, you can't eat. I believe you can't eat beforehand, whereas Cialis you can eat, and it lasts for 2 days. Whereas Viagra, it only lasts for, I don't know, maybe a few hours or something, and you got to take on an empty stomach. Whereas Cialis, you could eat all you like, and it's in your system for 2 days. As such, that's why they only give you like 4. After a while, though, because your erection's still going to be quite weak, so let's move on beyond the 6 months now.
Yeah.
As your strength is getting stronger, I would suggest.
There we go.
The vacuum pump.
And for
I've
those
made
men who are, you know, again, like, what's that, blood? What's going on? Give them the breakdown,
right.
brother.
I've made videos about this, a vacuum pump.
Yeah.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
for those who's never seen it and don't know how to use it, excuse this because my vac is very old, and the suction bit
Have you
was
been
coming off,
overusing it, Ron?
and I had to tape it up. So excuse
It looks like you've been
the
overusing
appearance.
it, Ron.
Okay.
You've been wearing it out, bro. It's wear and tear going on. The thing will tie up on you. No, I'm joking. Go
Okay.
on.
So obviously, this is your manhood, and it goes in
Yeah.
like so. But before you do that, I would suggest you either use baby oil or you use some gel round here so it slides in easier, and you make sure it's tight against you, and then you
And what is the purpose of this
vacuum pump.
Yeah.
What it does, it gives you an artificial an erection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so once you've been pulled to size to your required size, you'll have one or two choices. Either you use a cock ring when you take it off, right? Which goes.
And how does the cock ring support the erection?
Right, because what it does, it cuts off the blood flow, so you stay firm. So it's like putting an elastic band around here, and then say the rest of your hand will sort of go numb, but that would still be it works like that. So that's with the cock ring. Now, if you're going to use the cock ring, I'll suggest that you put the cock ring on first, then you put the vacuum pump on, and then when you take it off, you're good to go.
Ron, just for the disclaimer of those who said, what's going on here? Is that a penis pump? We're talking about prostate cancer, the process, the aftermath, and what you may need. Although some of us women may need to buy that pump for men in general.
Well,
okay.
I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that another time offline. Okay, Ron?
Okay, no. Now, and in addition to the vacuum pump, this is going to look really weird, right? Is a woman's pair of tights.
Oh, Lord, really taking me down the rabbit hole. Go on.
Right. Now, the advantage with the woman's tights, because it's elasticated, you could, when you strap it around you.
Oh, wow.
Right? You could put it much tighter than any cock ring. And because it's tighter, right, and it doesn't do no damage, and it's elasticated, you get much more of a...
So is this, can I just ask, with the cock ring, then the vacuum pump, is this your remedy? Did you make this up, or now you've got the stocking around the penis? Now, is that your remedy, or is men doing this in general when they have these procedures? Is that have you been advised this medically, or?
I'm going to let you into a little
secret.
DIY.
You've been a DIY, aren't you, Ron?
I'm going to let you into
Who told you about this? You and stockings.
I told you part of the truth, but I haven't told you all of the truth.
Ooh.
Once upon a time, I also, as well as a pro dancer, the stuff.
Am I ready for this? I'm trying to prepare myself.
I've also been hired.
All right.
To entertain ladies at ladies' nights.
Well, I saw on your page. I was like, what's he doing? I didn't quite get it. Okay, so you are some kind of a UK Chippendale then, low-key?
Yeah, I had been hired to work as a stripper.
What does that have to do with the tights? Help me out.
Because when the guys go on stage, before they go on stage to make themselves visually ready, they use the vacuum pump.
Oh,
and there's a terminology called tying off. So you tie off. So when you go on stage and you take your pants off, your penis is bigger, because unless a woman is actually physically touching you and turning you on, the opposite is going to happen. Contrary to what a lot of women think. A lot of women think that a man goes on stage, takes his clothes off in front of a load of women. They think that he's going to get turned on and he's going to get picked. Nope, nope, wrong, wrong, wrong. I've been asked this question numerous times. What will happen? He will get nervous because there's a bunch of women he doesn't know. He's not intimate with them.
Oh,
he's
wow.
going to get nervous and he's going to go. So
you trick us and making us think that you've got big ones. We want a refund.
Well,
your money back.
But you can't add what you don't have. So if you've got a big one, even though you use a pump, you can't get what you don't have. So if the guy's got a big one, he's got a big one anyway, but the pump has just got him there quicker. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So there's a terminology in the industry. It's called tying off. You need to tie off, and then what they do is something they maybe put like bubble bath or something. So they hide the actual the cock ring or the ladies' tights when they're on stage, sort of thing.
So they keep it on for the entire performance.
Some of them do, but like when I used to do it, I used to actually take it off when I used to do it. So hence I was a bit of ahead. I was ahead of the game because I knew how to get an artificial erection before all this happened anyway. You see what I'm saying? So and then when I did speak to the urologist, he said, well, we was going to recommend that to you anyway, because he didn't know what industry I was in, I was already ahead of him. He was going to suggest something that so all this was going to be suggested anyway. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So can I ask one more question about the pump for those who may need to know, I guess pre-warning or pre-gauging and how it all works. Yeah. How long do you pump for? How long is the procedure before you remove it and they're good to go?
Yeah, no more than a minute. If you've got it pressed really tight, you'll feel it pulling you. And if you've got, this is a cheap one. If you've got the expensive one that's got like a dial on it and it's got
a dial.
Yeah, it's got like an air pressure dial. They're the more. This is like cheap. This is real bucket. But this is the, no disrespect McDonald's, but this is the McDonald's cheap version. But like if you get like the Mercedes-Benz version with the air pressure dial, and it's got it pulls it even quicker. Yeah,
so men generally who don't have prostate a journey of that would use these things anyway. You're saying, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, before 2 weeks. So either they'll use it because they've got erectile problems, or they work on stage and they need to prepare themselves to go out on stage beforehand. Because if they don't and they come out, teeny weeny, how that song go, teeny weeny, I can't remember how the song goes, but there's a song, teeny weeny, short thick man, I can't remember. The women will be singing that song to him if he doesn't prepare himself. So I was ahead of the game with that, like as such. So, yeah,
and then thank you for showing us that. That was so interesting, as well as a little chuckle here and there, but it is still good to know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pause for a moment. I'm going to allow you to, maybe if you want to have a bit of some drinks or whatever you want, Ron, in a moment, give you a moment to breathe. And then we go to the next part, and then we wind down the live nice and slow. We return to the audience, and for those who'll be watching this playback, guys, it has been so far for me really informative. And I welcome and salute more of you men that are speaking up now on so many podcasts, lives, writing books, and so much more. The world is used to women being vocal, and receiving support. But I think now is a floodgates of men that are definitely speaking their minds and sharing their stories. And again, we know that, men is often told, no matter what they're going through, deal with it, man up. And I am one of those women in many areas, not necessarily in illness, by the way, but in general. And sometimes that can overlap with us women. That can very easily overlap where we're like, you know what, it's a bit of a man flu going on. Look at the way we have a period and the world stops and everyone's supposed to understand. That is one example. And like you said earlier on, that you may not feel like having intimacy, even if you can. But then I guess for a lot of us women, it'd be like, what's wrong with him? We
Yeah.
have babies and we're told we can't have sex for a period of time, and a man's supposed to understand that. If he doesn't, he's not a good man,
Yeah.
according to how we behave. So this is really important for women like me, you know, that's got a man like you that's so transparent, that's educated me from a spiritual perspective, not only medical. I'm being real with you. That's all
Yeah.
right, ladies, for those who were here. So we're thanking you so far. Guys, in the comments box, there's a couple of chuckles in regards to the dick pump. Did I say dick pump? Sorry. Penis pump, yeah. Of my son's listening to this, all the playback. Yeah, the penis pump. I'm still going viral, though, even if you're listening to this. Yeah. All right. All right. So where do you want to take us next into this? So you know, you had it removed, your healing process, did that go fine for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no
The
complications, everything went fine.
the best way I could talk about the healing process. I don't know if okay, I'm going to go slightly left, but I'm going to stay on track. If anyone's familiar with how a Formula One racing car works, when it gets to 100 mile an hour, that's when the power kicks in. It accelerates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, once I got to the 2 year mark, that's where my 100 mile an hour kicked in. I no longer needed a vacuum pump. I could see the vast improvement. I can get an erection without the pills. I'm not 100% back yet, but I'm about, let's say, in terms of percentage, naturally without pills, I would be about 95% on a good day. Rubbish day, maybe 90%. But then if I take the pills and if I'm really excited, it's like, you know, so once, see, every man's different. Some men would be quicker than 2 years, some would be longer, but there will come a point where your power will come in. There's something very important that we skipped out though, actually. Hold on, I need to sort of bring you back to post operation. This is very important. I need to tell you. So let's just put the sex on the shelf for a minute.
Yeah.
So you have the operation. They're going to put a catheter in your penis while you had the operation. And when you wake up from recovery, you will have a catheter, and you have to wear that for about 12 nights. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's going to be a pain in the butt, and unfortunately, you're going to have to go through it. I didn't like it.
What was the most? Was it painful though? Physically?
No, it wasn't painful. It was just
inconvenient.
It's just more inconvenience. What it is, because it catches the water. You pee inside a bag with a catheter, and then what you do, you release the valve and the pee comes out, basically. So the only inconvenience at night time, if you're sleeping, you might move, and it may feel like someone's got a pair of pliers and they just stick.
Oh.
And you wake up, oh, what the hell was that? That's the only.
It's foreign to you, isn't it? They're not used to it, of course. It's a foreign object. Yeah.
But unfortunately, guys, if you have the radical prostatectomy, there's no way around getting it unless unless technology goes forward and they discover something else. But unfortunately, you're going to have to for that 12 days. Okay. The next very important bit is when they call you to the hospital to get it taken out. Very, very. I haven't got any pads with me. It's very important that you stock up on some jock pads.
Okay.
I'll try. Okay. Okay. All right. These are a pair of my briefs, yeah. But the pads you're gonna get, they're gonna be like almost like nappies, the ones you need, right? For the first
especially
3 weeks.
medical pants, yeah.
Pads, yeah. Because I'm telling you now, for the next 3 weeks, you are going to be leaking water like Niagara Falls, and you're going to be going through some pads. You might as well you better sleep with a towel on the bed, but you're going to be leaking a lot of water once they take that. They say the leak lasts about 100 days, about 3 months, and then after say 3 3 weeks, you notice the leaking start to slow down, because when you take the pads off, you notice it start to get drier and drier. And then
Mhm.
eventually you could get the smaller ones, the more sporty ones,
Okay.
the and then
And where can these be
from
purchased from? Like pharmacy or just
yeah,
regular?
pharmacy,
Mhm.
Tesco's do them, Superdrugs, any those shops that has the pharmacy section do it.
Right. Okay.
But for the first 2 weeks, I would suggest get the real heavy duty ones, and get it before you have your catheter taken out. Nobody told me this. When I
The
had my
doctor
catheter,
didn't tell you any of this. There was no written, whatever they call it,
no,
instructions.
no,
Wow.
no. I went there. They took the catheter out, and
Wow.
they gave me their pads. They gave me 2, 3 of them. By the time I walked to the bus stop, I needed to put in about three of them in, and I just soaked them. By the
Wow.
time I got to the pharmacy, my pants was like I might as well just jumped in the water.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm telling you guys, if you have to go through that before your pull out date, call it your
Be
pull out date,
prepared.
stock up on some pads
Mhm.
and bring them with you, and you're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. You're gonna need them, right? And
Wow,
then
I'm surprised there was no aftercare information given to you. This is why
no,
you
no,
are giving it to the audience. That's so
yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then so about a week before your 100 days, you will notice that when you take your pads off, they're dry. And for
Mm.
me, about say after the 100 days, I took the chance. I went out without the actual pads.
What was that
So
like for you?
yeah, it was brilliant. It
Yeah.
was brilliant. However, there is another thing I need to warn you about, and it's something
Hmm.
that would change your sex life. So this is
Oh,
something
wow.
again the urologists fail to mention, right? Okay, so the leaking will stop, but there'll be another leakage you will have, and that's called sexual incontinence. What
Oh,
that
wow.
is, what that is when you get aroused. Now, this is something I didn't realize, something that happens in all of us. When we get aroused, we feel a feeling. But what I didn't realize, there's a chemical that actually physically goes through us. But
Hmm.
because my prostate was taken out,
Hmm.
that fluid comes out. So it could be something as simple as wow, she's nice, but she got some fine cheeks. I wouldn't mind riding a leak.
So hang on,
It'd be
the leak, it's not, it's urine, right?
it's urine like. It's urine like. It's a
Okay.
combination of urine and whatever that turn on juices. So it's not
So
like you're
it's
peeing yourself.
basically like, it's like premature ejaculation, which most of us women has experienced
But
anyway.
it's very it's liquid. It's liquid. It's not because that's another thing. You
Right.
can't have kids. You won't produce semen anymore. Your child
Oh,
making days is over. You can't produce
that's very
you.
important to mention. Thank you for saying that. Wow, really?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Mm.
when you do climax, it'll be dry ejaculate. You'll feel the sensation as though you're producing semen, but there'll be nothing coming out. At the very most, you
Mhm.
might get a little trickle of slime at the very most. But
Mhm.
if you're the guy that enjoys looking at the pearl necklace, if you know what I mean, that's over. That's
There
finished.
will be nothing. Wow, that's
That's
good to
done.
know.
That's done. Right. So
Wow.
so you will get sexual incontinence. Like when you get aroused, you will leak. So in terms of this is I've read that men has gone into depression because of the sexual incontinence, and they don't want to
This is
have
where I
sex
was
otherwise.
going. This is where I was going to zero in on the. I
Right.
know you're very chirpy and you handle things extremely well, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering for some men, they see seeing semen as or part of their masculine manhood. For some
Mm.
men, that may be a massive thing, not seeing their semen. Just it's like a woman who has her womb taken out. For some
Yeah.
women, it's
Yeah.
like I'm not a woman anymore, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, how did that affect you? Let's start there in terms of you not being able to visually see when you ejaculated. Did that have an effect on you at all? Did it,
Well,
you know?
yes and no. I mean, like,
Mhm.
because you still get the feeling,
Okay.
because you still get the feeling, you let that one go. It's more, it's maybe if you're with a woman who likes the feel of the fluid going on her, that might be a loss for her. But
No, thank you. I'm good.
exactly. But I just need to home in on the sexual incontinent, because there's tips I really need to give you guys, because right. So the scenario is you're gonna have sex with your missus, right? So you're gonna get aroused. I would suggest there's two things to do. I call it drain the system, where you need to drain the
Sorry.
system. It's okay. Well, you need to drain the system. Now you could either drain the system two ways. You could go in front of a toilet bowl, even it means jerking off, whatever. You leak in a toilet bowl, or if you're with a missus, you have a towel laid down. You leak on the towel first to get the water out of your system. Now, the urologists recommend, if you know you're gonna have sex, don't drink water. That's not realistic. You can't go a whole day with no drinking water as such. So,
Oh wow, okay.
you leak onto the towel, and then once you tie it off, right? Depending on how adventurous your missus are, then okay, you can do the penetration. But then if she likes to chat on the mic, then fair enough, you're fine.
I love that saying. Go on.
Because I'll tell you something. You do need to tie off after you've drained the system, because if you don't tie off, and she likes to chat on the mic, and that
For
fluid
those
going
who
into
don't get interpretation, she likes a bit of oral play. Okay.
yeah.
We've grown that here.
And if that fluid goes in her mouth, it's very, very bitter. I've been told this. It's like
Oh no.
really bitter.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
I wonder
bitter.
why that is.
And so much so
That
then you can drink
because of the previous blood and stuff that happened, they stored it within the system, do you think? And the whole concoction of
I don't know, but
cleansing going on.
apparently it's really bitter. It's really bitter.
Okay.
I mean, no disrespect to gay men, but I wouldn't know, because I wouldn't know what it tastes like. No disrespect to gay men out there, but like from the feedback from the women, they say it's really bitter. So you need to drain the system, and you need to tie off first before you let
tying
her
it off
go
with the
anywhere.
stocking or even the cock ring,
Or the cock ring, but you need to put the valve on, the safety valve on, before you let her go anywhere near him down there. You know what I mean, right?
Okay.
So that's very important, and because most urologists won't tell you about this. They'll just say, your erection coming on. How you getting with the Cialis? But
They
these
haven't told you anything. They didn't tell you a damn thing.
Yeah. I had to find all of this. I had to find out myself, but the hard way. I had to find out the hard way, especially with the pads. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Is there
that's very.
any prominent other points before we proceed and slowly close the live that you feel like you really want to mention? Doesn't matter about, that you find important for those people to know.
What's really important, I think believe it or not, the most important thing of all is your partner, the who you're with.
This is what I was asking earlier. Yeah.
That is, I think that's the most important, because one, if they really haven't taken on board your plight, because there's three approaches your partner could have with this, and because I'm straight, I'm going to aim it at women, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
You got one sort of woman who simply doesn't know how a man's anatomy works, and you just need to tell her, and okay, she may take it on board. So you got that sort of woman, okay? But that sort of woman you can work with, okay? Because she simply doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
Then you got the other sort of woman who's just jealous. Not jealous. Sorry, selfish. So
I heard that on your video. Tell us what you mean, but what would make that woman selfish? Tell us about that. What kind of woman would?
As in, like, right? You're going through a healing process. Your penis needs to heal. In order for it to heal, you need to be stimulated. So you need to get excited as much as possible. So you need to get excited. So if it means her wearing sexy underwear, her doing something to get you more excited, she has to do something. So the days of, I lay back as the woman and you do all the work all the time, that's no good for you. She
Let
needs to
me
be
ask
doing
you, let
something.
me ask you a question in that moment. So
Mhm.
when you say the days of the woman that would lay back,
I'm just saying. I'm just
that
giving. No,
then
not
means
not,
that
not that. That's not every woman. I'm
no,
just.
that's
I'm
what
just.
yeah, I wasn't even going to
No.
challenge that. I was just trying to look at
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
moment where you were saying that she needs to be more proactive and
Mm.
yeah, would that not just be something that a man should have been upkeeping with a woman anyway, so that when things happen in general, it's not new to her to have to be not just laying there like a plank of wood, so to speak, expecting you to be, would that not be, let me explain what I mean in more terms. If you have a partner or a lover that you have groomed each other. Remember, we groom each other in relationships.
Mm.
Okay. If that man is used to always doing the work and it's been normal to him, or they've normalized that, he
Mm.
can't expect a sudden change in her now, because you have to understand you've groomed each other that way for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
the. Yeah.
understand. So in
Yeah.
right. So that's the setup that it's been prior. Um, Perhaps maybe you can let those types of women know, or the
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
know,
That's
how he
see.
can
This.
break that cycle in those
You're.
moments.
You're. You're ahead of me. You're ahead of me because I was saying because this is what I was saying. I was saying. Uh, in, leading up to that, during especially a time when you're not having sex, this is where a lot of conversation needs to be had, a lot of communication needs to be had,
Mm-hmm.
and you really have to sort of drum it into that look, this is what I need this from you,
Mm-hmm.
as such, and
Yeah.
you know
Did
and
did
so
you experience that? Did you have the plan B woman that was not switched on, and you felt like you had to have the conversation, like, come on, be proactive now?
for a very for I mean I knew her for years, but for a short time, and she claimed she understood, and I thought, you know what, I can't be dealing with this, to be honest with you.
Sorry, just 1 second, Ron, just so I can cover something. This is an exclusive live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one can join this live, but you are welcome to ask questions in the inbox. And yeah, I will then at a later date talk about when Ron will be returning for multiple other conversations and joint conversations where you can come and also be a guest. Yeah, but carry on, Ron. It prevents people from pressing the live button if I just say that in this moment, but carry on.
Yeah, so what you call it, she claimed she got it. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, there's only so much times I can sort of cram this into you, such. And after that, you see, I believe something's only good if two people want to do it. If two people are
Mm-hmm.
enjoying something, I'm not the sort of person that thinks just of
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm all right, Jack. I have to see that you're enjoying it too. For me to enjoy it, I have to see you enjoying it too. And if
Mm-hmm.
I've got to then do a head spin and a back spin and a one hand spin to get you to understand something simple, then I start to switch off there because I've
Yeah.
done my best to explain it to you. And then if you're not grasping it, well, then you best you go
So is
on.
this what you've experienced? Just so I can be clear, you experienced
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
have to kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
reiterate. But clear,
yeah.
okay, so this was the woman that wasn't doing anything from before you were unwell, is what I'm saying. So, okay, it's groomed that way. So in that moment, how did you overcome that? How did you both overcome that in terms of you're
Oh,
constantly repeating
oh,
yourself, she didn't get
me,
it.
me,
What do you
me,
do
me,
next?
me and her didn't. Me and her didn't.
So you
I
broke
just stopped
up
seeing her.
over this.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It came to an end. Because I said.
Let me fine tune this, because I know it's not about relationships, but it's, as you said, equally important as you said.
Mhm.
Right. If someone's in a grounded relationship, I don't think that would have them end their relationship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You understand what
Because
I'm
yeah,
saying to
but
you?
there
Yeah.
was other things on
Right.
top, but there was
I
other
know
things
this.
on
It
top.
can only be the yeah. Because I don't think
Exactly.
someone's
There
going
was
to leave
other things on
someone
top.
in that
There
moment
was
based
other things
on
on top, but then
right.
that was like the straw that I
There
thought,
you
okay,
go.
well,
That's
you
what.
know,
That's what. Quite clear by that. Yeah.
yeah, I thought, well,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Okay.
add this, add that, then add equals to this, and I think, well, no, it ain't, and then
Makes total
ironic,
sense.
yeah. Now, ironically, right, the the very casual flings I had, and
Mhm.
and this is something that really surprised. Maybe it's an age thing because because I'm an old boy. I don't go for anything younger than my daughter. I really don't. It'll
Thank
mess with my
you.
head.
You're the only person like me who says that.
It will mess with my head. It will mess with
Thank
my head.
you.
Believe me,
Respect to you.
it will
Jesus.
it will mess with my head. So maybe it's an age thing. But when
I'm glad you said that.
yeah, but when I've spoken to women, I said, listen, I need to tell you something. And you could see they're thinking, oh, he's married, or he's going to tell me something. And I said, look, I've had a radical prostatectomy. This is the issue. It's not like the average guy, and I need a bit of work. Their whole demeanor is, oh, bless you. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You take it, whatever it takes, whatever it takes, whatever it
Mhm.
takes. And I
Is
think,
that the
wow,
general response you have? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I need
It's
to
like,
ask a very prominent question. It's a little bit intrusive because it's not what the topic's about, but I have to ask a prominent question.
yeah.
With those responses you received after, where, were they from a particular racial background, or does it not matter?
No, well, I'm gonna be
And I know
straight.
why I'm asking this.
I'm gonna be straight. They were all white, and
I already could have told you that.
I
Yeah,
haven't been with a black woman since 2006, and that was
I
in
could have told
America.
you that too. I could tell. But that's a whole nother Jerry Springer show. We can come on another show for that. But
Yeah,
carry on.
that was 2000 in America.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, 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 yeah.
So even the first experience you're saying with the woman that you separate from, she was also Caucasian. So therefore,
Well,
it was
yeah,
a
but
similar. Okay.
from the med, if you want to call that, is she was like
Mm.
Mediterranean, but
And by the
like,
way, just for the disclaimer, what I wasn't trying to say was because let me tell you the reason why I asked that. Yeah. Sometimes, let's pretend I only dated, let's say, Asians.
mm,
And I said, this is what I went through. Da, 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 da. Maybe culturally, that could be the reason why I always had these responses. So that's why I was
yeah,
keen and intrigued to find out. You might have said, you know what, the first three was Asian, the other two was black, and I could look at the cultural background for why maybe people respond the way we would predict them to. So, all right,
yeah,
carry on. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so like, so I saw the other side is like in terms of the willingness. Like I said, oh, I need this to sort of get me off, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely, hell yeah. It's like I'm thinking, wow, and I
Why,
didn't
why, why
expect
do
it.
you think? Why do you think you had that response?
Well, I
And
spoke
that's
to
a really it's a tricky question I'm asking you. I'll tell
no,
you why
I
after.
spoke. I've got a very good plutonic friend, and I was talking to her
Mhm.
about this,
Go for it.
and she said to me, right, something I would never think of. She said, when you talk to women like this and you explain
Hmm.
your situation, she said, as a man, you are showing that you're vulnerable. That's what
Absolutely.
that's what she said. You're showing that you're vulnerable, and to some women, that's
Transparency.
really attractive.
It's
And
very
I
attractive.
I wouldn't know. Even though I'm saying it to you, I still
Hmm.
can't comprehend how, because I'm not a woman, so I don't
Hmm.
know how a
Hmm.
woman
I'll
sees
tell
that.
you two things. It depends on the stages because everything is a season, isn't it? The woman
Mm.
you find today that may be like, you know what, I can't deal with him. I'm not trying to be no nurse. That could be the
Yeah,
woman's season. And you know what? Even in that moment, the majority of the world will be like, oh my God, she's no good. Doesn't mean she's no good. That's just her season. Maybe she's come out
mm.
of nursing 1,000 men before. We
Yeah,
don't often really think about why we respond the way we do. We just have this stigma that we tend to attach on people. And
yeah, yeah,
so you may find that again, that person may have just nurtured someone with dementia. They're not trying to go through all that medical. Maybe they need the healing right now, so they couldn't take that on. Now, I guess if they explained that, they would seem less selfish and we would
yeah,
understand each other a lot more. But then you're
yeah,
going to find people that's like, wow, I really appreciate your transparency, not even vulnerability, transparency, which is also sometimes invulnerability. And that is very attractive. And then you may have a woman like me who's very nurturing because you've come straight. There's no added inflated ego and all that kind of nonsense. Therefore, we
mm.
can work on it on a spiritual and psychological and medical, way. And
Yeah,
on the flip
yeah,
side, you may find that this is the part that I guess I didn't really want to say. There are a wealth of us women, also beautiful people. I'm not saying they're not beautiful people, who is still in the rescue mode.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, and I'm not trying to throw a negative. I'm trying to throw understanding. Yeah, whether
Mm-hmm.
someone's ill or not. But let's talk about being ill, as well. There's still a wealth of women who have this natural, beautiful, nurturing side,
Yeah.
but they still are the woman, as we're speaking about women, who long to be rescued themselves and hasn't got to a point of self-rescuing. And
Okay.
therefore, we are always, I used to be that woman in my 20s. So I very much know that role. I was
Yeah.
very young as well. So you're over nurturing and you are the woman divine on paper. But the
Yeah. Yeah.
over the top loving is because you actually really want that and crave it yourself.
Mm.
So you keep throwing rescue boats and rescue rings and armbands, but really sinking within self. So there's a lot of us, there's a lot of women that would be happy to take in the person who's got nowhere to live overnight and don't know the man and take him on and I'm going to nurse you, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
also for the mature woman now. I don't mean those in their 20s. They also realize that don't keep a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
house him, feed him, nurse him, and he's still going to leave you after you're going to leave. And in the
Yeah.
end, you learn, hopefully, to stop drowning within and nurture and survive yourself
That's right.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
rescue yourself. So when you do love, it's in a different holistic manner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that sheds any light to maybe
Yeah.
someone,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
understand? Because often when
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
give that way and we want to love that way and it's not returned, it will not be the same return because obviously one person's in need. There's a whole
Mm.
list of "I done that for you," and a lot of us women tend to do that. We love to have a secret checklist, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
things are not working out, I grew up with 5 brothers, so I know, innit? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the wealth of men, cousins or whatever. Women, we do love to throw back what we've done for the man,
Yeah. 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 I understand. Yeah.
especially in
I've seen
sickness
that.
and in health. I know you must have
I've
done
seen that
because
played
women,
out on
women do
TV.
that.
I've seen
Women
that play.
we haven't learned that if you're going to do something, just do it and don't look back.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I don't know if
No,
them court shows are fake or whatever. But when someone says I want my ring back, I think, well, if I gave you something, it's yours. It's yours.
mm,
Like, and the checklist,
yeah,
I don't get that. Like, I think
hmm,
if I do something for you, I do it
hmm,
because I do it. I don't do it
hmm.
to get anything back. But that's
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we're not just a disclaimer. There's so many posts out there that say people are here to use you, people are here to use you, and I think there's a whole lost array of people that's creating these posts. Because the reality is, we're all here to be used, just not misused.
Mm, mm, mm.
And if
Well,
someone,
this kind
do
of
you understand? So,
yeah.
hmm
That kind of goes
so
full
yeah,
circle to your first
we're
question.
all here to be used.
If we had the emphasis to give and what can I do for you, there wouldn't be none of that.
They
So,
wouldn't be. So I just wanted to add a little bit of light there when you say, I don't understand why, I didn't understand how women see it. And there's always going to be different reasons. And sometimes it's all coming from a place of love,
mm.
even if the woman's craving it herself. But for the record, ladies, even when we're nurturing, it doesn't mean he's going to want to save you after.
Yeah, that's true. I
You
mean,
know?
actually, I mean, like my biggest surprise, I thought that once I explained my situation, some of them would be like, "See ya," but
Oh, really? You thought that?
I was
Okay.
expecting that. I was expecting that, but I was quite
Mm-hmm.
surprised that they, even um, women I had no intentions to be intimate with, right?
Yeah.
I give an example. They may crack some joke. They may say, I'm trying to think of a joke they may say because I was out in a party one time and I think the woman insinuated like, oh, you're not going to get into my pants that easy. Some words to that effect. And I said, well, even
Mm-hmm.
if I could get into your pants that easy, I wouldn't get into your pants that easy because I've got a few complications, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
complication, and this is as much as I find you fine, but it won't be that straight. And then when I told her, she went, "Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you."
How
Like,
did that make you feel? Did you feel a little bit patronized, nice or
no,
something?
no,
Or?
no. I was because I could see I could see on her face she
Mm,
wanted to actually hug me. I could
yeah.
see it, and I thought,
It was
wow.
bless your little cotton socks, Ron.
Yeah, I thought I didn't. I thought, wow,
Okay.
because I could see that I could see it in her face. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna I'm gonna
So
go slightly. I'm gonna go slightly left, but
we, we, we got 5 minutes to wind down the
okay.
live. Yeah, but
Okay.
carry on.
Okay. Listen, I'm gonna go slightly left, but it's gonna be the
Mhm.
same situation.
All
I'm gonna
right.
take it back to. I'm gonna take it back to Tuesday, 2016. I was in a lift in a corporate side of London,
Mm-hmm.
going to deliver something. Got a phone call because I knew this was on the cards. And my friend, my good school friend, said, "Ron, Danny's passed away." Right? He had throat cancer.
Oh
And
man.
my reaction, I'm in a lift with all the suited and booted.
Wow.
I was shit, 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 shit. And he goes, yeah, yeah, tell it, ring everyone. I goes, okay, okay. And I hanged up and I said, sorry, folks, because I know that I was saying shit, shit, shit in this corporate lift. I
Wow.
said, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
folks, I've just been told that my best friend has passed away.
That was your bestie. Oh my
I'm,
goodness.
I'm getting a bit choked up here, sorry. And
Oh my goodness.
and then the look on their face, the way they turned,
Mm,
the compassion in their face, and a few of them put their hands on me. Like it
mm.
was the same expression that woman did when I told her about the complications.
Oh.
It was the
Mm-hmm.
same energy. It was like it was like the whole lift was like, oh, mate, what,
And you didn't know any of these people.
people. No, once I told
Wow,
them,
that is
and they
nice.
realized this guy wasn't bullshitting because of his reaction. I
Mm-hmm.
said, sorry, folks, I just found out my best friend has passed away, and the way they all
Oh.
turned to like, and this woman goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay."
When did it happen? How long ago was this?
Tuesday, 2016, August
Well, I'm still sorry to
2016.
hear that. I
Yeah,
lost my
yeah,
daughter too, because so years ago.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that woman had when I told that woman that party, her energy was exactly the same in that lift. The way she turned and
Mm.
put on, and that's why I knew it wasn't being patronized. She was
No.
like,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, oh, I don't know, but I wish I could hug you, sort of thing,
I
you
think
know?
she realized that, this was a man who wasn't trying to sexualize her. In fact, the opposite. And you caught her. She caught herself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So I
Well,
said,
Ron.
even if I could, it won't go that
Mm-hmm.
way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and,
Well,
yeah,
Ron, I would love to stay on even longer. And sometimes, guys, I do,
yeah.
it has been so far very informative. Let me ask you before I officially close the live, is there any other important parts that you feel like, you know what, this live can't be done until I say this? What's your
Ah,
last word? Give us your last word. Is there anything
let
that
me think, let
someone
me
out
think,
there
let
would
me
really
think.
need to hear, back on the
Uh,
serious note?
well, all I could say is, guys, get yourself checked out
Yeah.
sooner than later because you don't want it to be later and you got to go to the chemotherapy and everything
Hmm.
for the sake of 2 seconds of discomfort of feeling of a hard turd that could be a, uh, a premature death and or
Yeah.
you could live.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really that
Absolutely.
simple. That
Hmm.
really
Ron,
that's what I
thank
would
you so
suggest.
much. You have been amazing. Before you go, I have one more question for you, and it's one I ask everyone.
Okay.
Ah, your afterthoughts. What was it like for you tonight on Free Flame Thoughts, speaking of moi?
Wow. For my Virgin experience, I really enjoyed it. It's wow. I
Me
mean,
too.
it's funny being on the other end. I've watched so many lives with Kevin Samuel and loads of other people and stuff like that. And to be actually on one, it's wow. it's
Hmm. Hmm.
it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah,
That's amazing. Let's take 2 minutes to read last comments that we didn't get to see before I let you go, Ron.
okay,
Okay. Let me
okay.
put on my 2020 vision. Jennifer says, thank you. Great live. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for joining. And Dope says, great show. Thank you for joining us. Maria, thank you for joining. She did have a question for you. I'm not sure why you wanted to join the live, but you do have a question. You did have a question. And actually, Maria, for all I know, you may have specialties or medical background in prostate. If that's the case, let us know, which would make more sense for why you wanted to join the live. But Maria says, okay, Ron, okay, well, let me go back. I think I saw that one. Mm. So no, we didn't actually. Ron, did you not know you could get help? I'm not sure in what way did you mean help? Is that the parts where he was talking about not being told about
Actually,
the aftermath and stuff and the aftercare?
actually, just something real quick, and this is going to be real quick.
Mhm.
I've had a lot in the years. I've had a lot of people talk to me about herbal remedies and stuff like that. Now,
Right.
I'm not poo-pooing it. The only
Mm-hmm.
reason why I don't give advice on that because I haven't seen enough hard evidence because we're playing with people's lives. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a catching a cold
Yeah.
so if and I don't know enough on it and enough on it to advise on it. I could only
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
advise on what
Mhm.
I know. So I'm not
I'm going to be
saying
bringing on some
herbal.
herbalists. I'm calling
Yeah,
out
I'm
for
not saying
herbalists. So
herbal thing don't work. I'm not saying, but
Mhm.
I don't know enough on it to advise
To
anyone.
say, absolutely. Okay, well, thanks for that. And thanks, Maria, for that question. Thank you for joining. Also, Iva, appreciate you. Ron, it has been amazing. Once again, thank you for gracing us with your presence,
Yeah,
especially
I
thank you
loved it.
for,
I loved it.
yeah, I really,
Yeah,
really appreciate this conversation. And just to let you know before you go, Ron, I would like to have you back. I said to you for you to join myself and maybe other male guests or female guests. We can have a three-way
I'd love that.
live. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
I'd
to be
love that.
bringing you back.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're gonna chop it up on different subjects. Yeah, I think it's time this
Okay.
year that I bring in some guests and have some three-way talks. I'm actually going to bring in a couple of people to co-host with me every now and again and spice it up a little bit because I think this year, guys, save me Run for a moment. This year, I really wanted to start the beginning of this year with holistic conversations. I mean, the
Yeah,
whole relationship stuff is always going to be there,
yeah.
anyway. So I am going out seeking personally, unless someone comes to me with relationships, that's fine. I'm seeking personally conversations that are very much holistic, whether it's body, mind, spirit, and sometimes we can throw the stuff in between. So the first month, at least for this year, this is what it's been about. And so this topic was way up on a pending list. And so when I met you, I was like, please come and have this conversation with us.
I'm
Your
glad.
spirit is so, what can I say? It's very vibrant. Even if you're speaking a very serious and emotive topic, your spirit's very vibrant, and we appreciate your equilibrium, the balance that you bring and have brought on this live. So, Ron, thank you so much.
Okay,
Namaste.
thank you very much.
Feel free
Okay,
to leave the live, and I'll
everybody.
speak to you shortly. Press the X on whichever side you see, and that will
Okay,
allow you to end the live.
okay. Good night, folks,
Thank
and
you. Good
have a
night.
good night. Okay, I'm going. I'm going and gone.
Okay. It's all right. Yeah. All right. Oh, guys, that was very, very, very good and very informative. Thank you so much for joining us. And if there's anyone watching this live that would like to have a exclusive conversation on any topic goes, as long as it flows, let me know, inbox me, we'll schedule a date and make it happen. And maybe you don't want to have an exclusive, maybe you want to have a couple of people on the live. We can do that. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. And as for Maria, I don't know what you wanted to say, but thank you. You can feel free to inbox me, or maybe you want me to end this live and repress live, and then you can come on. Yeah, let me know. Maria, let me know. If you want to come on the live, I might even do a spontaneous one for the next half an hour. Inbox me ASAP, we can come back live and you can have your say. That would be good. And if not, we can reschedule for you to come back another day. Yeah. So Friday, we have another live. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, I won't tell you what that's about. But yeah, and then next week, I'm going to be having a conversation on friendships, the good, the bad, and the betrayals. So there's quite a few topics coming up, guys. Feel free to suggest topics if you know any herbalists, bush doctors, unconventional and unwesternized doctors and herbalists and people of that nature. Please let me know because I do want to continue to have a lot more holistic lives. Yeah, thanks, guys. Good night.